the Legal Growth Podcast, where we dive into the strategies, challenges, and success stories shaping the future of law firms. I'm your host, Aaron Fulk, and together with Legal Growth Partners, we'll bring you in-depth conversations with top legal professionals, industry innovators, and firm leaders. Our goal is simple: to share practical insights, innovative strategies, and real-world advice to help your law firm scale, adapt, and thrive. Whether you're navigating growth challenges or looking to boost your business development, you are in the right place. All right, let's dive in. This week, I'm so excited. Our guest is Sean Dennin. He is the Executive Director of Birch Citadel, and I'm so excited to have you here. Hi, Sean.
Hey, Aaron. Thank you so much for having us on.
Well, thank you for coming on. So you've had a little bit different journey than some of the attorneys we've had on here before, so I'm just going to kind of adapt these questions, but super excited to learn. So just give a quick overview of how you chose to get into law and kind of how you chose how you ended up there, and then the specialty of law that you really know the best, I guess.
Yeah, absolutely. So for full disclosure, so I'm actually a non-attorney working in the law space. I've been in the law space for many, many years. Previously, I owned an e-discovery company where we used to do lots of, large scale IP litigation and work with companies. I also, early in my career, I used to travel around the country and I would set up workrooms all across the country for when attorneys would have big trials. So I actually lived in LA for 4 months when Apple and Samsung were going at it, was supporting that trial and was on the ground for there. So been around law my whole entire career. And then, started to move into more different areas, helping people grow, doing coaching and things like that. So a few years ago, I came across somebody reached out to me, Matt Chalmers, who's our, founding partner of Birch Citadel. And he had some ideas, right? And it was like, hey, listen, I'm looking to get started. Matt is a incredibly intelligent attorney, graduated top of his class from Stanford, super scientific, and was always very passionate about just making a difference in the world. Like, that's really what his goal and mission was with Birch. So when we first started, we didn't even know what Birch Citadel was, right? Originally we were talking about maybe doing some, work with, more like energy consulting and big projects and clean energy and those areas and stuff. And those are huge, massive areas. But once we started to get into this and we started doing some research, we found that there was just a completely not served area of the market, essentially, right? And I'll tell you what we're doing unique at Birch Citadel, different than other places. So when people are dealing with habitability concerns and habitability issues, it is really, really difficult, especially when we're talking about mold. What do they do, right? So let's imagine, I'm living in an apartment. I'm pretty much month to month, right? Which most of the country is right now, right? We're living paycheck to paycheck. We don't have a lot of funds to support. And I'm dealing with just toxic mold, or I'm dealing with just unlivable conditions. Well, yeah, you can kind of report them to the board, which we recommend everybody does, because that's going to help your case later. Get the code enforcement involved, do the things that you need to do, but it's just this long, drawn out process, and it just goes back and forth. And really what happens is they go through that. Landlords are still not being held accountable, still not doing what they need to do. And then it really comes down to then sometimes we see the landlords get aggressive with the person. They start sending eviction notices and things like that, right? And really trying to be disruptive. So what does a person do in that seat? Well, they could potentially try to seek out a personal injury lawyer, because if their health is being affected from the mold. But the problem with that, Aaron, is that it is so hard to prove that personal injury theory with mold cases, right? So in many, many times, and it's not the nature of that the attorney doesn't want to help the person, the attorney just simply can't help the person because it's not going to be something that they're going to be able to prove on that theory. So then what's the other option? Well, the other option is you're dealing with a contract, right? So I'm going to contact a business lawyer and I'm going to say, hey, I need help with this. I think they're in violation. Business lawyer is going to be like, yeah, I think they're in violation too. Send me a $5,000 retainer and we'll get started on your case. Well, they don't have $5,000. So there's this stuck point, right? There's this middle ground. And that's where, Matt and I kind of put our heads together, and we were really, really focused on innovation. And we decided that we were going to build the complete model based on contingencies. So just like it is based in personal injury and cases, but give people access to justice and access to law that they just never had. Fortunately, unfortunately, and fortunately, is that we did find that we hit on something with some very, very light marketing and some simple Facebook ads and meta funnels. We probably generated over 800 leads in a short period of time. We signed up. We right now have 135 active cases that we are working through, and to the point where like we're even like we're not even bringing people on as quickly as we are right now because we're just playing catch up. We hired about 8 new staff over the past 2 months. We're recruiting new attorneys right now, bringing them in. So yeah, it's been exciting. But I would say that the key thing is just being able to think about things a little bit differently and being innovative, right? Like, because that's like everyone's like, oh, like, well, it must be the marketing. It must be this. I'm like, no, it's not, right? Like we are serving an unmet market, right? Like we are meeting somebody where they're at. And that's honestly where I think there's just such a high demand for this. So yeah, we're really excited about it. And it's been fun growth so far.
Okay. So that is so interesting. So the leads are coming in through the Facebook ads mostly.
Yeah. So essentially what we're doing on that front is we're just like, hey, have you been dealing with mold or other habitability issues? If so, you may be entitled to a compensation. Call for a free, right? And like those are things that people don't typically see because previously they're like, okay, well, I'm feeling sick from this. I called a personal injury. They said, sorry, we can't help you. Called a couple business lawyers. They said, send the retainer. So like to them, I think it's almost like this new beacon of light where it's like, oh, like there is somebody willing to, and that's the thing. It's like, we jump on the call with somebody, we talk to them. There's many cases where we talk to some people and we're like, listen, to be honest, like you're best served in small claims court. Here's the process. Like we'll even go as far as to show them like, this is your local county, like go here, do this. This is what, what I mean? So like, we're really mission driven on just serving the public and helping people. And that's, that was one of our core things. Like we do things a little different at Birch, and one of our core KPIs and one of the KPIs that actually Matt, our lead attorney, uses solely, right? I'm like, I don't even want you to be worried about all the other numbers and focused on that. His number one KPI is how many lives do we impact and change through the process that we're doing, right? And like, he just has that running number, and it's amazing because that's his mission is to help people, right? And like, we just found that, yes, we thought that originally maybe it's on a global scale and doing those things. And in the future, we still have plans to do that, right? Like Matt's very, very deep in rulemaking and things. So we're still going to have our imprint on that in the future, but we saw this immediate opportunity to have direct impact and change people's lives. I mean, we just got a picture from somebody who was struggling for years, sick children in the home, everything. We were able to obtain a 6-figure settlement for them, and they were able to move out. They bought a new home. Like we got a picture of them in front of their new home and everything. And like, it's just moments like that just remind you why you do all this.
So is there ever a time, this is so interesting to me, is there ever a time if you do something within multifamily that then you geo-target with those ads if you know somebody already is having an issue there?
Absolutely. Yeah. So in those buildings, what we see is typically, and listen, like this is just a result of, you have to look at the economy and just how things happen, right? So, before you would have institutional landlords, people and stuff that are just landlords, right? But then you have a lot of private investment and capital come into this, and people are like, cool. And they're just looking at the spreadsheets. They're just like, it's like not really, property owners, right? So they're just looking at numbers. Hey, oh, we got this complaint. What's this cost to fix? But yeah, I mean, Matt said casually in a conversation with me one time, and I'm like, that's going to end up being one of our lines in the future is like, I really wish some of these landlords would have a $1,500 conversation with their contractor before they have a $150,000 conversation with me. Right. Because it's like this is all they need to do. Like in a lot of these cases, and when we look at the fact patterns and we see everything, we're like, they had so many opportunities to fix this, and it wasn't even massive. Like, cut out the drywall, do the proper remediation. Don't just paint over it. Don't just cover it up. Proper remediation, fix. you don't have these problems, right? And
It's about people.
it's just greed. Greed gets in the way of that, and we're here to fix that.
You don't know this about me, but I started my marketing career off in property management marketing.
Oh, okay.
And so, yeah, I know exactly what you're talking about.
Yep.
Yeah, it's become so much private equity that it's so crazy.
Exactly. So.
Okay, so one of the questions I ask usually right here, which I think is really interesting, is usually the question is, looking ahead, what trends or changes do you see shaping the future of law firms, and how are you positioning the firm to stay competitive? I think everybody's answer has been AI, but I find it really fascinating that you say, well, we're just changing our business model. So I'm going to let you answer that question, but that's not something that people are really talking about, is changing business model. But it seems like, law firms have been ready to be disrupted for a long time. So I'll let you answer that question.
Yeah, so I'll answer that on two part because we're really doing that. So one part would be the innovation side and just being innovative and really just thinking about how can we help people who have had previously limited access to justice. And I would say, Aaron, as part of our expansion and growth, that's our core principle right now. Is how do we bring access to justice to people that typically wouldn't have it? Because those are the people that just get bullied in society, right? And they just don't because all of a sudden they get scared with all these letters and, hey, we're going to do this enforcement, we're going to do this. They get scared and they run, and it's just classic bully stuff. I don't do well with bullies. I don't like bullies.
Right.
So, we kind of come in and we're like, hey, really? So that's one piece. The other piece and what attracted me to this opportunity most and to Matt was when I first met with Matt 3 years ago, and I still joke with him. I'm like, it was still that twinkle in his eye, right? This vision that he had for Birch and where we wanted to go and what we wanted to do. And we are really building a different type of law firm. We have a lot of policies in place where, we have a 5-to-1 guarantee a guarantee salary where our CEO, top level partners, everybody will never make more than 5 times the lowest paid employee in the company.
Oh, wow.
Right? We have mandatory mental health days. I don't know which law firm out there has mandatory mental health days. We have mandatory mental health days. They have to take off a couple days during the month. We offer 100% remote work. We give opportunities to people. We've even expanded beyond that. We have some remote workers and some incredible case managers and paralegals and investigation people working around the globe, right? We're already global with our employees. And really, that's something that's always been core to me is how you build and how you treat people. I think traditionally, law firms are built up on that billable hour model. And in the beginning, it's the grind and just, I'm going to work, 2,000 billable hours and just I'm never going to see my family or see anything. We want to do that differently, right? We think that it's more sustainable. So that's part of the culture at Birch that we're doing. A lot of people talk about their culture, but we're listen, we're putting our money where our mouth is.
Right.
This is what we're doing. This is how we're building the firm. Everybody is going to share in the wins and in the success and the growth of this. And we just believe that that's a better model. It's a better model for sustainability. Does that cut out in the end of the year? It cuts into some of the profits and everything like that. But at the end of the day, when we're doing good and we're mission driven, there is so much to go around that's what our belief is. And our belief is just taking care of the people that got us there.
Well, I love that. I know you well, but I didn't know a lot of this stuff. So I love learning about that. So thank you so much for coming on here.
Yeah, thank you.
Thanks for learn from the way you guys are doing stuff.
Yeah, so we have some exciting things coming out. We are, like I said, we're rapidly growing. We're looking to hire some additional. We're based in California right now. This is a nationwide problem. So we do have expansion plans in the future. We got some great people behind us. So we're really excited about where it's going.
I love it. Well, to learn more about Sean is a good place to connect with you is LinkedIn.
Yeah, LinkedIn's perfect. Yep.
Perfect. Well, thank you for joining us on the Legal Growth Podcast presented by Legal Growth Partners. If you enjoyed today's episode, subscribe, drop us a review, and share it with your colleagues because great insights are even better when shared. For more tips and tools to help grow your practice, visit LegalGrowthPartners.com. Until next time, keep innovating, keep growing, and keep smiling. Thanks so much, Sean.
Thanks, Aaron.